for now. A report from Randy Toms is coming up. A submarine procurement is moving ahead. Which country will supply Canada with the new underwater vessels? Hot conditions on tap for the next little while with little relief. I'll have your full 7-day forecast in a bit. And in sports, I've got a little bit of everything. World Cup, baseball, hockey, and women's basketball. Northwest of 5 starts now.
From Lady River and Lake of the Woods to the corner of Lake Superior, this is Northwest at 5.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay City Council has approved setting up a vacant and dilapidated building program. The cost is just over $1.4 million and will go towards demolishing 3 properties that failed to be purchased in a city tax sale. It will be funded from the Vested Property Rehabilitation Reserve. Council has also unanimously approved actions as a lame duck period potentially starts after the close of nominations next month. It has delegated certain authorities to the city manager until after the October election. The long-awaited beginning of construction of Phase 2 of the twinning of the Trans-Canada Highway west of Kenora is getting closer. That's the promise of Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford. He says they still don't have a start date for construction to begin, but all the pieces are in place.
Those are signals, those are the things that give us an indication that things are coming together. The First Nations leadership have been nothing but supportive, especially quite recently, taking up and identifying roles, capacity, and training pieces. So that's leading somewhere very positive.
The first 6-kilometer phase of construction was completed almost 2 years ago. About 500 Hydro One customers are still without power following a storm earlier this week. The outage is affecting residents west of Kenora, especially in areas along Highway 596 up to Menaki. Hydro One says power should be restored later this afternoon. The Rainy River District School Board has approved a $65 million budget for the upcoming school year. Between 70 and 75% is connected salary and wages. Chief Executive Officer of Education, Heather Campbell, says there will be some new positions created.
We have additional autism support workers from the prior budget year in our schools, as well as we've now secured a second speech-language pathologist. So that's really exciting to see.
Campbell says the budget does reflect a decline in student enrollment and an increase in provincial funding reflecting inflationary adjustments. Thunder Bay MP Marcus Pulaski has sent a letter to the provincial government about its decision to not participate in relaxing federal rules regarding temporary workers. Labour and Immigration Minister David Piccini has said the decision was the best interest of Ontario workers. However, Pulaski and the Mayor of Fort Frances have told the government that it isn't in the best interest of small Northern Ontario communities. The letter goes on to say that federal changes apply only to underserved rural areas like those in the north. Well, it was a busy Canada Day week for the Ontario Provincial Police last week. A week-long enforcement blitz resulted in almost 1,400 charges being issued. A majority of them, 1,208, were for speeding. Another 13 were nabbed for stunt driving. 93 people were charged for improper use or not wearing a seatbelt. Another 37 motorists were charged with impaired driving. 8 were charged with distracted driving. OPP's marine units had a quieter week. 1 charge was laid for the lack of a personal flotation device. No boaters who were checked were cited for not having the proper safety equipment on board. Efforts to sell off Sunny Cove Camp have been paused for now. Here's Acadia Broadcasting's Randy Toms with the details.
A committee set up to oversee a sale says it will await further direction from Fort Frances Town Council. Council approved selling the camp in March, a decision supported by the Fort Frances Kiwanis Club, the former owners. The hope was to find someone who would continue to operate the camp for youth. Acadia News was told there was some interest expressed, but it is not known if any formal bids were presented. I'm Randy Toms.
Well, it's time for a first check on weather, and we are sure feeling the heat here in the region. Normally, our temperatures should be around 24 for highs and 11 for lows. But we've been above that mark for the past few days. And I do have some bad news. The temperatures are going to get hotter heading into next week. So what's causing all this heat? Well, here's meteorologist Jeff Colson.
The way things are shaping up right now, it looks like a drier brand of air is in store as we get into the end of the work week, though we do start to see humidity building up again for the weekend. So in terms of conditions on Thursday and Friday, again, a little warmer than normal and very comfortable levels of humidity, and then we could see those humidity levels rising a little bit as we head into the weekend.
Of course, I'll have your full 7-day outlook coming up. Chad's Big Swim will begin tomorrow. Chad English is swimming 100 kilometers over 10 days on Lake of the Woods to raise money for a number of different charities. English says he's been blown away by the people and businesses that have supported his swimming marathon.
You know, the support has been truly overwhelming, from like the most heartwarming stories of 10-year-old kid saving his allowance to give back, right up to some of the larger companies, agencies in town that have really been very generous with their donations.
So far, English says he has raised over $25,000. He plans to leave Sable Island at the south end of the lake tomorrow, swim an average of 10 kilometers a day, and arrive at Coney Island by July 26th. Still to come, a growing wildfire forces a partial closure of a local provincial park. We got the very latest. A traffic note for people in Fort Frances ahead of an upcoming major fishing tournament. And later on, a submarine procurement is moving ahead. We'll be right back.
Ugh, tiny taco, itty-bitty burger.
Lunch is lousy out there.
Sure is. Little, limp, laughable.
Well, what about 5 classic Subway footlongs under $10 each?
Well, that would fix it.
Right now, get your footlong fix at Subway with turkey, ham, Veggie Delights, tuna.
Or cold cut combo.
You are cold cut correct, compadre. All 5 footlong, topped with fresh veggies, under $10 each. Subway. Eat fresh, feel good. At participating Canadian stores. Extras, taxes, and delivery additional. Expires August 31st. Freshly prepared.
Welcome back. A wildfire that has significantly jumped in size has forced a partial closure of Quetico Provincial Park. The fire, dubbed Fort Frances 15, was first reported on June 30th within the park's boundaries. It's now being measured at 1,300 hectares in size and is not under control. The park has posted on its social media that the partial closure will be reassessed on Friday. In the meantime, the park is offering refunds to those impacted by the wildfire. The park is offering affected park users and those with reservations the option of a full refund or the opportunity to change their entry point, if possible, to another location. It is advising users not to cancel or change their reservations online, but to call the park's reservations team directly. We have the phone number on our website. Currently, there are 73 active wildfires around the Northwest region, with the fire hazard currently between moderate and high. The first Main Street Market of the season is taking place this Saturday in Kenora. And we have a traffic note for people in the area. To accommodate the market, Main Street from 1st Street South to 2nd Street South will be closed for much of the day. The closure will run from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., and a no parking zone will be set up early in the day to allow food trucks and vendors to set up. The Main Street Market will take place from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. A recent apartment fire in Fort Frances is being used to highlight the importance of cooking safety. The Fort Frances Fire Rescue Service was called to a 5th Street East apartment this week to find a fire involving an unattended stovetop appliance. The blaze was quickly extinguished, leading to minimal damage to the apartment. No one was injured, but the building had to be ventilated and its air quality tested before the occupants could return. In a social media post about the incident, the department says unattended cooking is a leading cause of residential fires. It suggests never leaving cooking unattended, and if you need to leave, even briefly, turn the stove off. The Coalition for Waverly Park Summer Concert Series has kicked off for the 2026 season. President David George Noonan says the Monday night series will feature a variety of performers and will also include a food drive supporting the Regional Food Distribution Association.
If you have non-perishable foods, please bring them out, and then at our table set up just on the Waverly side of the street, we can collect that food for you.
The concert series started this past Monday with guitarist Michael Abraham and the Sibley String Quartet being the performers. The series will run until the end of August.
And now the weather forecast is brought to you by Sunset Country Ford.
Well, if you're a big fan of all this summer heat we've been experiencing, we've got plenty of it throughout the outlook. And our temperatures are expected to get even warmer heading into next week. Tonight we'll be seeing a few clouds throughout the region, with lows ranging from 12 in eastern and central portions to 14 in western areas. Tomorrow, Fort Frances and Thunder Bay will see sunny skies with a few clouds lingering around the Kenora and Dryden areas. Highs will range from 26 in Dryden to 27 in Kenora to 28 in Fort Frances and Thunder Bay. Tomorrow night, there will be scattered clouds throughout the region. Lows will range from 12 in Fort Frances to around 16 and 17 in Kenora and Dryden, respectively. Taking a look ahead, we have a slight chance for showers and thunderstorms this weekend, which, considering the current forest fire situation, is bad news for all the firefighters. Temperatures aren't going to change anything. In fact, this weekend, they'll climb to the low 30s, reaching a peak of 33 by Monday. We will very likely have a heat warning in place for the area as we get closer, so stay tuned. Anyways, that's your forecast. A submarine procurement is moving forward after the federal government picked a German supplier. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the platform offers advanced capabilities for Arctic patrols and long-range missions.
These are amongst the most advanced submarines ever built. The fuel cell air-independent propulsion system allows for more than 40 days fully submerged in near total silence.
This procurement will be the largest in Canadian history and is expected to have a broad economic impact. Up next, Communities in Bloom return to Kenora for the first time in 20 years. A traffic note for people in Fort Frances ahead of a major fishing tournament. And Paul, what's ahead in sports? Well, Ginger, I've got a preview of the World Cup quarterfinals, some hockey news, and action from the Blue Jays and Toronto Tempo. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Bobby the Buoy here, the new hydro dam safety champion for Ontario Power Generation. Bobbing above and below the water, I know the dangers lurking in the depths, so avoid those damn danger zones. Together we can be damn safe. Stay clear and stay safe.
For the first time in 20 years, Kenora is participating in the nationwide Communities in Bloom program. A panel of trained professionals will travel to the city next Wednesday to evaluate 6 key areas. Among those areas are community appearance, environmental action, heritage conservation, tree management, landscape, and plant and flower displays. Kenora is one of hundreds of communities participating in the Communities in Bloom program. Judges will complete your evaluations this summer, with rankings and results set to be announced in the fall. Well, expect an increase in traffic along 2nd Street East in Fort Frances for the next several days. That is because Front Street will be closed starting tomorrow to accommodate the Fort Frances Canadian Bass Championship, which goes next week. The closure will be between Minnie and Butler Avenues, and the road will reopen on July 20th. With the closure on Scott Street because of road construction, all light-duty and heavy truck traffic will be required to use 2nd Street.
And now, the T-Bay Tells Sports Report.
It was a day off today at the World Cup as the 8 remaining teams get ready for their quarterfinal matches. Tomorrow, France takes on Morocco. On Friday, Spain will face Belgium. And on Saturday, Norway plays England, while Argentina plays Switzerland. The Toronto Blue Jays snapped out of a 3-game losing skid last night as they defeated San Francisco 9-3. They wrap up the series this afternoon with Dylan Cease starting for the Blue Jays. Baseball history was made last night as Brian O'Hearn of Pittsburgh sent a franchise record, driving in 10 runs in a game. Meanwhile, Tyler Tolbert of Kansas City tied a Major League mark with 12 consecutive hits, matching the mark set by Johnny Kling of the Chicago Cubs back in 1902. 3 games in the WNBA tonight, including one in Toronto, where the 9-11 Tempo try to snap a 2-game skid as they take on Golden State. And finally, in hockey news, Claude Giroux is back with the Ottawa Senators. He signed a 1-year, $2 million contract with the team yesterday. And that is it for your sports. Now back to you, Ginger. Thank you very much, Paul, and that will do it for us here on Northwest of 5. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a presentation of Alpha 7 News Holdings.